Welcome inside the School of Communications here at Quinnipiac University. I am Assistant Professor Nick Petroskevich, and this is the latest episode of What's Your Story? It's March, so there's no better time to welcome in ESPN's Bracketologist, the mayor of March, Joe Lunardi. Joe, thanks for doing this.
I'm thrilled to do it. Nick's a longtime friend and colleague, and I love talking to students.
Okay, at some point they're going to ask a question about trying to get some dirt on me. That's not allowed here. Okay?
We'll see.
We're not going to tell them about how the bracket works, and it's a drop down. And maybe one year you might have had Kansas as a #1 seed, and I put them in as Kansas State.
You might have.
And you got all the angry emails, and then I just said, yeah, no, I don't know what he was thinking. Let me try to find him and fix it.
Well, we're back in the drop-down business.
We are in the drop. It's a dangerous
Cal
business.
and Cal Baptist is this year's funky.
So is this the best month? This is the best month of the year, right?
Yes. As a sports fan,
Not
right?
for somebody who's got to work.
Right. I mean, it can be exhausting in terms of the hours, but I could have a real job, okay? And I had a real job for 30 plus years as a communications and marketing professional, non-sports. This is not that. I'm retired from that. I would call what I do now as working in the toy department. Yeah, I might be up until 1 or 2 tonight waiting for Hawaii to finish its game because they're tied for first in the Big West. And I can't call it a night until I have a league leader to plug into a mock bracket. Is that a reason not to pursue this as a vocation? Not for me.
Nothing says March quite like waiting up for the result of Hawaii basketball.
Yeah, now, when Hawaii,
Oh, no.
I mean, it's better when they're not in the mix, right? But they've had a little bit of a inclination this year, not just to have late starting games in Honolulu, but to go overtime or to not win decisively, because I do enjoy sleeping.
It's true. Jason Stark, who you're very familiar with, used to call October National Sleep Deprivation Month for you. It's the last couple weeks of February and first couple weeks of March, right?
Right now, I have 10 days left.
So we have a vested interest around here.
Mm-hmm.
Quinnipiac enters the tournament as the 4th seed, has to play Marist. We're hoping for the first time in history that you have to put them on a final line. They've been on lines in the past, but they've never got in the tournament. Last 2 years,
and they've been knocking at the door.
So we're hoping they get a little hot this week in Atlantic City.
Well, I can tell you that they're one of only 2 letters of the alphabet that's never been represented in the bracket.
Okay.
But we don't have a Z school. We do have Xavier.
Okay, which
so they kind of dominate their letter.
All right. So the Quinnipiac is real, there's never been. Obviously.
There's actually Queens University in Charlotte.
But they've not gotten into the tournament.
They're not. In fact, they're what do they call it? Transitional Division I.
Okay.
And they're not even.
Okay.
They're not out. They're still on the naughty list.
Do you remember the first time you ever wrote down and projected out a bracket? The
first time I did it just for goofy, or that it
before,
was
the first time you thought,
in some manner.
I'm bored. Let me put. I guess it would be 64 teams then.
Well, it goes back further than that.
Oh, wow.
Much further than that. So, when I was a young man, I grew up in Philadelphia. And in Philadelphia, college basketball was dominated for generations by something called the Big Five. 5 schools within about 8 miles of one another who played a round robin of each other every year. Temple, Penn, St. Joe's, Villanova, and LaSalle. And I grew up with my older brothers taking me to the arena on University of Pennsylvania's campus called the Palestra. Try to imagine UConn, Yale, Quinnipiac, I don't know who and who, playing all their games in one arena, even though they're not in the same league. That's what Philly was. And I was maybe, Nick, 4th or 5th grade. Penn was undefeated. And I started drawing. This is when UCLA won every year.
Okay.
And I tried to draw a bracket in a way that would get Penn to play UCLA in the Final Four.
Okay.
Because I was a Philly kid. I didn't know any better. Like, I didn't know there was a Kansas and a Kentucky and I didn't know these things. I was 9 at best. And the irony was, one of the Big Five schools did make the tournament that year, did play in the national championship game, did lose to UCLA at the Astrodome in 1971, but it was Villanova. Villanova beat Penn in the Eastern Regional Final. Penn was undefeated. Well, kind of like the St. Joe story in '04. Villanova beat Penn 90-47. And pretty much everyone in Philadelphia, outside of Nova people, has hated them ever since.
So,
and count me in that group.
When it becomes, and we're gonna go backward a little bit and do a little more of the origin story. But when you first developed it, like you don't apply to be the bracketologist.
No.
You invented this stuff.
Hard to believe.
Right. So, what is that? Do you take pride in it?
I do now. I don't think I was smart enough to realize along the way what was happening.
Okay.
Like, no false modesty here. I'm neither false nor modest, okay? I'm kind of a compulsive truth teller. In recent years, with the benefit of like age and experience and maybe just whatever comes with being old, I do realize that I created something. And I created it not unknowingly, but kind of unwittingly. Like there was no way to know 30 years ago when the first bracket ran on the old .com, ESPN.com. It wasn't even called that.
No. Sports Zone.
Right. There was no way to know what the audience would be. There just wasn't, because there was nothing like it. And I wasn't smart enough at the business of business and even management. I don't know that they could get their arms around it either. But, click, 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 hundreds of thousands of clicks later, right? I think what we realized was, because, this isn't like pro sports, right? Pro sports, there's maybe, if you look at the 4 major sports, there are maybe 40 markets?
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm pulling a number out of the air. Because there's some double markets like New York, and then there's, I was in Charlotte this morning, and I'm thinking, how many of the 4 sports? So I do that whenever I go somewhere. But everybody has a school, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody either you went there, mom and dad, crazy Uncle Harry, the guy at the water cooler at work, and it's bragging rights, right? You could be in the smallest town in Montana, and you're a Montana State Bobcat and not a Quinnipiac Bobcat.
Look at
right?
Good pull on the
on
the mascots. There you
go.
go.
I'm 50-50 right on Montana. One's the Grizzlies, one's the Bobcats, but you'll believe me because you really don't have any choice. And so like we all have our squad,
right?
And that's why, as a 3-week entity of an event, the men's basketball championship and the women's is growing by leaps and bounds, and great. There's plenty of room at the inn, but I was appealing to an underserved set of fan bases who were asking the question, are we in or out?
Yeah.
And if you're one of the obvious ins, right, like the ones that go every year, well, where are we going to go? Who are we going to play? What's our seed going to be? And all of a sudden this guy shows up saying what those answers were. And I like to joke, Al Gore was nice enough to invent the internet there in the mid-'90s. And that
There's not a single person in here that knows what you're talking about.
I know. That's okay. The internet didn't exist when this started, or it just was in its, embryonic stages. And it just, time and place, right? Content that people want, and in those days, we never used the word content. The word content actually was more used as the content. Like we didn't, like I was not a content provider. If somebody had called me that in 1995 when the first bracket ran on .com, I'm not sure I would have known what that meant.
Right, or liked it.
Or, right, I would have been, that sounds like something the Ken dolls do with the hair and the makeup, right? Right?
I think, yeah.
No, well, like you grew up in the print media era. We were the thoughtful, introspective,
yeah.
smart ones,
Yep.
right? And the TV poofy hair guy, we made fun of them until we became them, right? And here we go. Look at that right there. My dad were alive, he'd say, that's a face for radio. And he's not wrong. But, yeah, didn't know then, but sure, now that there's 200 other people doing it.
That's my next question.
Right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did, and it would have happened. Someone would have thought of it.
So you invented it. You are.
Like I didn't cure a disease.
No, but like.
I might have created one.
But yeah, I think you're also underselling it because it is the toy department, but it is an important part of the culture.
No question.
It's what people care about, and we're going to get to the process because I know how this process works a little bit, and I know you're not just sitting back there throwing darts on a board. But I want to go back. You said there's 200 people doing this now. There
Well,
are
200 that
are trying.
That are trying to be noticed and competing against one
Are
another.
you flattered that more people are doing this, or you're like, I created this. Get off my lawn.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
At least the ones who, have the self-awareness to kind of come up and, hey, Joe, like, I do it this, like, can we talk about this?
Yeah.
Like this, like, the ones who just want to post and take shots, the old saying, the view's pretty good from the cheap seats. Mm-hmm. Like, you want to get down and dirty and be accountable? Okay, I can live with that. Okay. If you just want to say, my bracket's better than yours, and I have no way to, I don't know what the rest of their life is like. But for the most part, I view it as flattering.
You have a background in, you mentioned it before, you have a background in marketing and PR. Can you go back to before Bracketology? What was your full-time, what did you do for a living before Bracketology became this behemoth?
Well, unknowingly, I majored in college basketball at St. Joe's. In Philadelphia. I had no idea I was doing it at the time.
We are not offering college basketball as a
No,
major here. We
but-
created a new major in sports
But there was
communications.
nothing like this.
Okay.
Right?
I'm just making sure they
But
understand.
what I
Or
had,
hockey.
but what I had, Nick, was 5 schools playing 4 miles from campus in doubleheaders twice a week. Mm-hmm. The 5 I mentioned, and the teams that they played that would come in, like Georgetown and Syracuse played Villanova. Notre Dame came in every year to play LaSalle. One year Penn played UCLA. We played DePaul and Duke. Like, I had no idea that this entire sport and this entire media ecosystem that covered college sports was literally in my backyard. So all I had to do was show up on press row and in the press room, and it was like press conferences with, Dean Smith. Like Chuck Daly, who coached the Dream Team, coached at Penn. Like John Chaney's in the Hall of Fame. Rolly Massimino's in the Hall of Fame. Jim Boeheim's in the Hall of Fame. John Thompson Sr. was in the... Jimmy Lynam, the coach at St. Joe's, won 800 games in the NBA. Like, talk about professors.
Right.
And they were nice to the little pipsqueak with the reporter notebook pad. And look, do I look like I'm going to be any good at basketball? Okay. So I couldn't play. I can barely coach. My daughter's 0-15 CYO team was proof of that.
Hell yeah.
But I could write and talk a little bit, particularly write. The talking came later. And I would sit there and go, I want to be on press row. I love being in this environment, and that's what I want to do. I also wasn't sure I could make a living at it at least not a living that would allow me to have a wife and a family and a dog and a cat and a mortgage. Okay? We never did get the cat, thankfully. And no offense to the cat people, I just happen to be allergic. So I got into PR, and I worked at some places. I ended up back at my alma mater about 5 years after graduation and became, I'm sure there's here at Quinnipiac some chief communications officer who goes on the news if a building catches on fire, or one of you throws like a burning couch out the window of your dorm. Or, you know, there's a meningitis scare, you know, don't worry, Mom and Dad, we're doing everything we can. And that was my job. That was my job. But because I was on a campus, I was able to dabble in sports. And I worked for a suburban daily. We used to call it a stringer. Daily, short term for newspaper, remember them. And so there I got to scratch my press row itch for pretty much my entire adult life until this came to pass. And because it was 5 schools, now 6 with Drexel, almost every year a couple of them were in the mix. So I was kind of like speculating, are they going to make it? Where are they going to go? The same things that people ask me now. I was asking then. So that's kind of how it started.
So we talk a lot about analytics and numbers, and some of them, and including me, when I was in college, and then for a long time, like the numbers sort of scared me, or I wasn't ready to approach them. Metrics now are a big thing. Like, you're not just, like I said before, you're not just throwing darts at a board. Walk us through the process, the numbers that you break down, how you arrive at 68 names on 68 lines, and with 95 more waiting to take one of those lines.
It has evolved the same way the distribution and presentation of this content has evolved, right? Like, it used to be great if once a week on a Sunday night or a Monday, after all the games in a given weekly cycle were completed, if we published a projected bracket at that moment in time. And it sat there for a week. People were cool with that. I was really cool with that. That doesn't cut it anymore, because I guarantee you by 8 o'clock tonight, I'm going to be sitting in a studio up the road, and there's going to be a game going on, whether it's on our air or somebody else's. Probably a conference tournament game where some 1 seed is in trouble. Joe, what happens if Navy loses to Bucknell? Well, it means that somebody else in our bracket, our projected bracket, is going to have to take Navy's spot as the projected winner of their league, the Patriot League, right? And then, all right, well, who's the next best team? And the next, and you need domino. But it's not just a straight swap. Like, if you get up, we can't just put you in that seat, because your record is not as good as his. No offense.
You're right, though. His, whatever it is, his record's not as
like
good as,
you might
you could have picked him with anybody.
That's a 14 seed. You might be a 15. Or you might be in the NIT. You might be on the steps over there. But so like, now it's dynamic, and I've had to build, and it is numbers based to this degree. I basically live in the same spreadsheet for 5 months. When our girls were little, they would say, "Daddy is tapping," which means games have ended, and I'm up manually updating various categories of data. Some of it I can straight download, some of it I can scrape. That's a term I didn't know about. Like, that used to be what you put Bactine on if you skinned your knee. Right now there's data scraping. That to me sounds like something you should get a 2-minute penalty for. But whatever. I find that by tracking the results of, let's say, the top 100 teams, which is roughly what it is out of 360 some, like, I remember stuff. Because the other thing that I guarantee you will happen to me tonight is I will get asked a question live on television that I don't know is coming. about a team or a league, very specific to what's going to happen in the next 10 days with all these conference championships taking place. And chances are I'll know something about that team or that league. But I want to know more than that. Like if I'm the best at this, or at least the first, the OG, I've been called by my now grown daughters, and by manually doing it every night, like I go to bed every night from November 1st to March 15th with a 1 to 68 ranking of teams. Every night. Sometimes I cheat if it's early enough in the season and I don't need it at night, and I'll wait and do it in the morning. But I couldn't do that when I had a real job because I had to go to work in the morning. Right now, it's way better. Less work, more money. Aspire to that. My wife's very fond of that. And I'm not suggesting that's a healthy way for an adult to spend their time every night to count to 68. But I think it's the way to do this job the best. And until somebody proves otherwise, and hopefully I'll move on to that great bracket in the sky. But the process is every night.
So I oversaw college basketball for 6 years for ESPN.com. So I worked alongside Joe. His operation he runs, he did not need me, but he was kind enough to occasionally listen to me. But I know what goes into it, and I stayed. It's one of the great pleasures of my life is I've stayed on the email thread, so I still get Bracketology updates even in my Quinnipiac email now.
Probably one right before I showed up.
I was going to go there. 11:53 a.m., which meant you were in the Starbucks in Meriden probably
Correct.
doing this. Walk us through what the next 10 days of your life looks like, and then explain the favorite email that I know is coming soon, which is, where's Lunardi?
Well, they kind of want a different one, and the only reason I might do it is because of you.
The color-coded email.
The color-coded, where's
email.
Joe? Okay. And this is really a window, because for these 10 days or so, like I really live kind of an out-of-body experience. Like the things that happen, and the people that will call me, or something will happen outrageous in the next 10 days, and I don't even know what it is yet. Okay? I suspect it's going to have something to do with the commercial.
Oh, my God.
But we don't need to see it. Let's just say that if you're watching games, there's now a Dr. Brackett's commercial.
There is. I will,
around.
for those of you who have Professor Mays, or I'll just send it out as an email.
Yeah, I don't care. It's public.
It is phenomenally
like the people who wrote it and thought of it.
It's frightening.
Like, I think I'm pretty creative, but this is, I got to go to Hollywood. Like, I had a hair person. I had a makeup person. I had a fruit basket person. Like, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. And I had 3 lines. 3 lines. Like, we invented Zoom for this. But I'm in Hollywood for 2.5 days, and we filmed it at Pepperdine.
It's a pretty good campus.
Oh. So rumor has it, on Selection Monday or Tuesday morning, one of the people in this conversation is going in his Dr. Brackett's costume on Good Morning America to tell the world how to fill out their bracket.
Oh, my God.
Okay? I did this 2 or 3 years ago, not in costume, and I get to the green room, and it's Paris Hilton.
Because when I think of Paris Hilton, the person I think of next to her is you, of course.
Yes. And it gets better. I go in the men's room because, we all put our pants on one leg at a time.
Oh, my God. I'm afraid of where this is headed.
Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds. And
similar look.
No, I don't know who he is. Okay? Now, imagine having teenage daughters at that time.
Oh, boy.
So, do your business. We're kind of coming out of go back to the green room. And because I tend to be, I stuck my hand. I said, hey, and he goes, you're that bracket guy. And I go, oh, thanks. And the 3 words that will be said at my funeral by my daughters. And the words are, and you are?
Oh
So
my
now, like,
God.
we're home, like, at
Oh,
Christmas,
no.
let's watch a movie, and he comes on, and, like, Emily, who's 32 and smarter than the rest of my family put together. And you are? Dad, and then my 28-year-old, Dad, you're not posting enough. Now it's July. I don't have anything to say in July. I want to play golf.
So back to the schedule. the 10
So
days.
schedule. Yeah, sorry.
It was the only job I had with him at ESPN was Joe.
Making
all right,
him stop.
Let's go. But let's focus here for a
You're the
second.
one who gave me a microphone.
I did. That's on me.
About 85% of what I do, maybe more for ESPN, is off camera. And it is far more important than everything that's on camera. Because everything that's on camera is part of these daily emails that Nick is talking about. If you turned on ESPN right now and they were showing, I don't know what, okay, or any of the ESPN family of networks, there'd be a scroll on the bottom of the screen that we call bottom line. And on that line, it would say bubble. And it would say, according to Joe Lunardi, blah, 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 blah. Okay? One year when our Emily was in college, she called me from a bar with a red Solo cup and a large group of male admirers who found out she was me because we looked the same, much to her chagrin. And she's like, Dad, they changed your name to according to again. But it's because they're running the information, the emails, every halftime, every commentator is going to say, for every game for the next 10 days, this team is placed here, this team is not in, this team is a projected 6 seed, this team's head coach's wife, just bought a new Mercedes. Whatever's in that email is going on the screen. And I envision a time in life maybe when I'm not schlepping around in the dead of winter and I'm just sitting at home doing that and not going on camera.
Right.
Because I could, I'm not going to lie, I have an ego. I like it when I like being recognized most of the time. But like the days where if I don't see myself on TV today, it's a bad day, I don't care. I just want to be right. And I want the time to study and be right. Or be as close as I can, realizing that my job anymore isn't to just be right on Selection Sunday as much as it is to provide meaningful content throughout the season for our readers and our viewers, and even more for our production people.
It's become a year-round thing.
Because they're counting on it. I mean, our programming department in the summer, hey, Joe, we're scheduling the SEC network Thursday night, 9 o'clock game. Who do you think the 5th and 6th best teams are in the SEC? And this is in August.
Right.
And I'll be like, I don't know. So, but I've come up with a way, a numeric way, an analytics-based way, along with a little secret sauce of just my own basketball sense, to try and get it right. And you don't get it all right. You never do. But we'll be pretty doggone close.
So I've got a couple more, and then I'm going to open it up to the students because you've spent more than a decade listening to me, and that's way too long.
Well, there's one little faulty assumption there.
Which is what?
That I
They
was
listen.
listening.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like you were talking.
I mean, it's similar to my classes. They're
You were
acting like they're
talking.
listening.
Like my wife talks and says,
right.
"You're not listening to me."
You know the cameras are rolling,
and then
Joe.
you go, "Oh, she's heard it all."
Okay. So
The first 40 years are the hardest. Anybody that's thinking about, tying the knot.
So in doing my research, I read a Q&A you did in GQ, which is funny enough that you were in GQ.
I was?
You were.
Oh, I don't remember that. I really don't remember that. Trying to get in cigar aficionado.
Did you get called by the governor of Iowa once?
I did.
What? The governor called to complain or ask what was going on?
So I'm at my real job at St. Joe's. Back in the day where, if you were a VP, you had a secretary. Remember them? And Joan Mulva, God rest her soul, and God bless her for putting up with me. Joe, somebody's on the phone and says, Governor, I don't know what he said. So it's like Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, and like most people at desk jobs, Friday at 4 o'clock, you've long given up working for the weekend.
I don't show up here on Fridays, Joe.
Yeah. And, now actually, the reason we used to do, remember the old digital chats on .com? The reason we did them on Friday afternoons was because nobody was working and traffic was high.
Okay.
Like we knew how to get clicks so that the Patricias of the world would be happy with us, right? We could count. We weren't at least the 68.
Analytics. We knew
we could
the audience.
count.
We understood
yeah,
the
that's
audience.
exactly right. So I click on and I get please hold for the governor, and I'm like, this is one of my boys. This is one of my guys. They're punking me. They're Joe, this is Governor. It began with a V. It doesn't matter. Where's Iowa? And I said, next to Minnesota? Like I didn't.
I knew the joke was coming.
No, but I think that's what I said. Well, you have, my staff is telling me you have Indiana in and Iowa out, and we beat them twice. I said, well, Governor, I said, I'm sure you have more important things to do. I said, but if you were to kind of research strength of schedule and just all the stuff that goes into it, you'd see that the other 28 games Iowa has played are maybe also determining their standing. That was the wrong answer. But what I'm picturing is the governor of Iowa and his boys on Friday afternoon are sitting around ordering a pizza and starting the weekend happy hour a little bit early, and somebody says, let's see where the Hawkeyes are. And the governor, being the governor, probably says, get that bleep bleep on the phone. And he did.
And the rest of the response.
Bill Sack. That was his name.
The rest
Bill
of the
Sack.
response was, you said, I'm guessing you and your boys are sitting around, not working, having beer and pizza. And somebody responded saying, we don't have any pizza.
Well, I later found out it was bourbon, but
Okay.
I hadn't discovered bourbon myself
Okay.
yet. That took COVID. No, that's,
Last one.
stunts your growth if you drink too much at a young age. See, here's my goal with these things. I love to say yes, but I make sure to behave in a way that guarantees I never get asked
invited.
back. Except at great golf courses.
I was
then you're
asking-
on your best behavior.
I was asking him earlier today, have you been here before? He said once, so this is second, there won't be a third.
Yeah.
So do coaches still call and yell at you and say, they think you actually are on the
Yesterday.
search committee? Yesterday?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't want to mention
I don't want you
Louisville
to do
by
that.
name.
No. Because Boeheim's retired, so it wasn't him.
It's not him.
And it wasn't.
And he never did.
And it wasn't Seth Greenberg because he's he's on the.
Well, no, he just blames me now
That's,
still.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I call it the Scott Drew Award. Scott Drew is the coach at Baylor, and he's fundamentally a good guy. Now, understand, 365 of these in America, most of them millionaires, all of them have their livelihood dependent upon the random behavior of 19 and 20-year-olds. So they're control freaks. And they can't talk to the committee itself. The people who make the bracket, it's sequestered. But now that Dr. Phil exists, right, for them to vent or ask or wonder, like I got absolutely lit up 2 weeks ago by a coach. And the difference between now and 15 or 20 years ago is, I know I'm right. But most people don't like that person, right? Like think about high school, like the kid in the back of the class who had all the answers to the test. Nobody likes that guy, do we? No, see? You'd never go out with that guy, right? No.
Focus.
Me or?
You focus.
No, but so I try to be respectful with the answers. Coach, there's a lot goes into it, blah, 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 blah. Well, there's no way in bleeping bleep that we're a 6. And I'm like, like once they cross the line, I'm like, okay. I said, maybe you're right. I said, I miss one team every year. Maybe you're the one. That's now my answer.
Yeah.
That's now my answer.
One of my favorite responses when you hit 66 or 67, you're like, I missed one and the committee missed one.
Yeah, and I've even gotten better at that. Like, having gone through the process enough, like they're really trying to do it well. So I'll usually, look, you get to the very end. First of all, that team number 68 isn't winning the tournament anyway, right? So we shouldn't be losing sleep. And we wouldn't be losing sleep except jobs and a lot of money is at stake.
Yep.
Every single one of those schools whose name shows up on the board, what do you think their payout is? Just
Somebody throw a number at him. Somebody said $1 million over here.
yeah, it's 2 now. And that's just for getting in. And then it's 2 more every time they win. So some kids on the foul line when it's 71-71 with 3 seconds left, and he's not feeling enough pressure. Yeah, some athletic director or school president's going, "Ah!"
So that puts in a different context of what it's going to mean for the men's basketball team and the women, or both teams, especially the men's team, because of the revenue.
Right.
Is what's going to happen in Atlantic City this week.
It's gigantic. That part of it is a business.
All right. It's time to let them ask questions. Who knows what's going to happen now? Who wants to kick us off?
But you got to tell me who your squad is.
Well,
if it's not
Quinnipiac.
well,
right?
after that, your next squad.
Zach, then we'll go Tim, and then we'll continue to move.
And
We
your
gotta
squad
make
can't be the
I always
Celtics.
forget about this side of the room, Joe. I can't forget about this side of the room today.
Okay.
I grew up a UNC fan.
Bad loss last night.
It's
They're not
okay.
going to make it.
Your
We'll
name
see-
and
we'll
where you're
see.
from.
My name's Zach. I'm from Maine. I guess my biggest question for you is how much actual basketball that you watch goes into your predictions, or is it all just straight analytics?
I track everything. By this point in time, to actually sit and watch is a luxury. I broadcast a lot of the St. Joe's games still. Those are the only games I get to watch from start to finish. Now, November, December, Maui, Jimmy V Classic, the champions. We went to
Yep.
Chicago once
Yep.
for Champions Classic. I can, and once the tournament starts, golden. But right now, no. But I will say, I gave one piece of marital advice. I'm going to give one more.
Okay.
The single greatest thing you can aspire to as a male in the United States of America is making the following statement true in your adult life, and that is, honey, I have to watch the rest of this game for work. Thank you very much.
Okay, Tim. Oh,
My name is Tim Bellingham from Darien, Connecticut.
And by the way, it's 40 years in a row. 40 years in a row. Go ahead.
My squad's Yukon.
Oh,
and
shocking.
whoa!
Shocked,
who let
I
him in
say.
the building?
Born and raised Connecticut.
Hey,
my
you're allowed.
my question is: this past week, there's been controversy with Bruce Pearl trying to get Auburn in
Yeah.
over a Miami, Ohio
Yeah.
that's undefeated. Outside of just that case, what do you think about some of those teams that are not a Power Four that have won so much that deserve to get in over a team that's middle of their conference, say in the SEC?
Is this being recorded?
It is.
Good, because I want this recorded. Bruce Pearl's wrong. Okay, irrespective of being a jackass, he's just wrong on the facts. Okay, and I know I get to this point every year where I'm exhausted and I'm so immersed in it, the expression "not suffering fools." I just can't deal with it. Auburn is 500 for a reason. Okay, Miami of Ohio is 30-0 for a reason. They've won 13 true road games, okay? They could play St. Bernadette CYO 13 times on the road and not go undefeated. It's really hard. Now, is Auburn better than Miami? I have no idea. My guess is if they played best of 7 on a neutral court, it would go 6 or 7. Just basketball observation. But we do keep score 30 times, okay? And the goal is still to have more points than the other team. We cannot have a credible national championship of a division of schools that's 366 members, and one of those schools is undefeated, and we don't include them. I will go to my grave and die on that hill for the mid-majors. Now, if they were 28-3, you want to talk strength of schedule? Okay. And if Auburn was 20-10 in the SEC, but they've played, like, Miami of Ohio's 13-0 on the road. Auburn's 2-9. Auburn has 5 quad 1 wins. Miami doesn't have any. But Auburn's played 17 quad 1 games, over half of them at home, where teams win 70% of the time. So, Coach, shut up.
So, again, all the numbers, all the research that he's doing, right? Like, some of that might have sounded like Latin to you. Like, it shows the work that goes into it. Also,
Like, I'm not making that up.
no, you're doing the work. And then the other part is I also know where we are in the basketball calendar.
Yeah.
And so when you said to Bruce Pearl at ESPN.com this week, leave the bracketology to the professionals.
Right.
I figured we were in the Joe Lunardi
He's cranky.
basketball calendar of no F's giving.
Correct.
Point.
Like, I'm not going to tell him how to guard the high ball screen, okay? Because I don't know anything about it. Or I don't know much about it, okay? Like, don't talk to me about resumes.
Who's next?
Teams' resumes. Don't talk to me.
Caden, then we'll keep going across the way here.
And no, I don't know if we're going to trade A.J. Brown. Go ahead.
I'm hoping not.
I'm hoping not to.
Yeah. My name is Caden Stewart. I'm from Philly.
Where'd you go to high school?
Holy Ghost Pratt.
Greg's a good friend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole staff is nice there. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
All right, now we
And
got
Bill
to
Doherty
gotta
especially.
focus both of you.
Come on now. This is about, you go to a school like this for the personal touch, right? Okay, then.
So kind of building off Tim's question, how important is strength of schedule when you're filling out your bracket and both making the projections?
Well, it's a lot more important in the projections than it is filling out. Okay?
Yeah.
Because projections are essentially fact-based. Filling out your bracket is primarily luck-based. Okay? Like, there will be 67 games in the tournament, right?
Yes.
At least 50 or more of them, the betting line will be like 3 points or less. So let's call that a 50-50 game, right? One shot, one possession. So to get most of them right, let's say to get 45 out of 50 right, like that would be like taking a quarter out of your pocket, flipping it 50 times, and having heads come up 45. And to get a perfect bracket, like Warren Buffett, the $10 million for a perfect bracket, he didn't become Warren Buffett by being an idiot. Okay? To get, like, you want to take a quarter out of your pocket and get 67 straight heads? We'll wait.
Yeah.
You'll die trying.
All right.
So, strength of schedule, yeah. Look, you want to pick Miami of Ohio, they play Arizona? I would, like, what would make me pick Arizona isn't strength of schedule, it's that they have 4 7-foot guys that are dunking on Miami's heads.
By the way, when you fill out your bracket, though, since you're trying to beat me, you all should pick Miami of Ohio. I'm going to pick Arizona
In that game.
in that game.
Right, but what about like in the early round when they're
I'm
against
not giving them advice,
Villanova
Joe. I've got
in a
to
7-10 game? Now that's a little bit more of a, right?
I'm an alleged, like, I've got to win in this thing because I'm going to have to listen to them if I lose.
Yeah.
Who's next? We're going this way. Go ahead, right here.
We don't need the mic, do we? Or is it going the
It's
thing?
going, yeah.
My name's Sam Kaplan. I'm from Massachusetts, and my school is Michigan, other than
Big
Quinnipiac.
Blue.
Yes.
Hail the victors valiant.
Yeah, my mom went there.
See, we all have a school.
We do.
My question is, there's so many games during the month of March and in the tournament. How do you decide which ones to go to in person? If you do go to, I'm sure you do go to many in person. And then what's the travel schedule like during March especially?
Well, here's the misconception. Once the tournament starts, I have the best life in America because I don't have to go if I don't want to. Like, I'll dabble in the little .com work here and there, but I'm not supplying any information to the network at that point. Number one, it's not on our air. And number two, what am I going to do, give them next year's top seeds? We wait until the early April for that.
Till like 5 minutes after the title game.
Yeah,
after next year's bracket up.
This year there happens to be an opening weekend site in Philly. So I'm going with my friends. Like, my plan is to wear a baseball cap backwards, not be recognized, and drink beer. That's
You've earned it.
correct. Correct. And then, we'll see who advances. If there's a team at a fun spot that but I'm really perfectly content to watch it. But like this week, I was in Charlotte yesterday, Connecticut today, Boston tomorrow, Philly Saturday, back here Saturday night, sometime in Pittsburgh for the A-10s later next week with probably a little train under Madison Square Garden at the Big East in between. And if the bosses had their say, I'd be in the studio and never leave. So we try to have an exchange of ideas on my whereabouts.
Bosses in the old days might or might not have rooted against St. Joe's in the conference tournament to
and they were
to
right.
get you back to Bristol.
They were right. They were right.
So,
And I do, like, I've reached a point, I'm 65, it's taken me 64 years to be okay with missing a St. Joe's conference tournament game. Because on the 1st and the 15th, I'm reminded why that's a good idea.
straight cash, homie.
You got it.
My name's Josh August. I'm from Albany, New York. I'm a Houston Cougars fan.
Wow.
My question is, what is your most memorable bracket moment since creating Bracketology?
Sitting on the Sports Center desk, live, reacting to the selection show the night St. Joe's got a #1 seed. And they cut to a camera in the gym, and my wife and little girls were in the shot. And they were crying, and then I was crying. And that's the last time I've gone on live during selections. Because it's not good for anyone's objectivity or... Now, we haven't made the tournament since either. But that's not quite true. But, you know, in those days, I was a full-time employee, and my girls were growing up on that campus and running around that gym, and there they are in that gym, and we have the #1 ranked team in the country. Like imagine if Quinnipiac went 27-0 and was undefeated. That's what we're talking about.
It'd be like if Indiana got good in football.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Matt.
I'm Matt Flaherty. I'm from Connecticut, so naturally UConn fan. Do you have a Cinderella run prediction for this year?
Oh, we're getting a lot of basketball analysis going on here.
All right. Well, I think there's two kinds of Cinderellas. There's the teams from the kind of one-bid leagues, right? And then there's the teams, I call them down-ballot teams, that maybe finish 6th or 7th in their major conference, make a run. I think the best non-power conference team in the tournament is St. Louis. They're 2nd in the country in effective field goal percentage on offense, and they're 1st in the country at effective field goal percentage defense. So what does that mean? That means when they shoot the ball, they score more points, combination of 2s and 3s, than all but one other team in the country. And on defense, when the other team shoots, they allow the fewest. Now, I'm not Bruce Pearl. I don't coach. But if when I shoot, I score more than everybody, and when you shoot, you score less, I should win. Right? So St. Louis is one, and if you really, if you force me to go deeper in a conference, well, they're not deep enough anymore. I've loved Virginia all year. I've loved Arkansas all year. Arkansas might have the best point guard in the tournament in Darius Acuff. And if you can stomach Calipari for 3 weekends, you know, you can call the Hogs.
Hang on. Professor Mays and I do not have to take attendance now because we'll be able to figure out when we look at the brackets. Whoever picked St. Louis, we knew they were here today. That's how we're going to figure out attendance, basically. Luke.
And I made up all those stats. It was part of a control group, experimental group. They're going out in the first round. They're losing to Cal Irvine. Go ahead.
My name's Luke Kraut. I'm from Connecticut, so go Huskies. Mine was kind of a general college basketball question, but what's your take on former pro players being able to play and be college eligible again?
Sounds pretty ridiculous. And I'm sure they'll find a way to legislate it some way. But the larger question is, our sport, my sport, it's broken. It's just broken. Off the court. Because on the court, man, it's good. Right now,
This year
anyway.
has been
Now,
unbelievable.
I don't know if it's the money. I don't know what. The town sees me going like this Like, and that could be a follow the money thing. Like the teams at the top are really good. Like Duke, Arizona, and Michigan this year, analytically, are as good as the 2 or 3 best teams of the last 20 years. And to have 3 in 1 year, that's, and I mean, like UConn's the 4th or 5th best team, and I think this UConn team would fall right in the middle of their 2 recent champions. Right, like they're not as good as the first one, or I mean they're better, I think, than which got hot and played great, and then the second one was just a juggernaut, right? Like nobody was beating. What'd they win? 6 games by 17 points a game. Yeah. Doesn't make the coach any more likable, but you know, he's really good at his job, even if he'd give an aspirin a headache.
I'm Jack Bergman. I'm from Westchester County, New York, but I'm a Syracuse guy. My biggest question is, who do you feel like is the most important connection you've made in the realm of college basketball?
Oh, Nick Petroskevich. 100%.
Thank you.
Most, you know what?
The check's in the mail.
How about, so there's a guy at the NCAA named Dan Gavitt, who's the vice president, and he was in charge of the tournament. There was a guy before him by the name of Greg Shaheen, who had that job in my quote-unquote bracketology formative years, and he was an incredible resource and fair-minded guy who understood that it was my job to pick at them and didn't take it personally when pretty much everybody else in the room does, and we're still friends and colleagues. So I would say professionally he probably meant the most to this endeavor, outside the athletic director at St. Joe's all those years, who basically just looked the other way when I didn't come to work.
I'm Matthew Parker. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Valley Forge.
Yes, yeah, my brother's going there for baseball. But I'm a Penn State guy, which is not good for basketball.
Well,
they're a football school. But I wanted to ask
good
you.
years.
Yeah, a lot more bad years.
Yeah.
But in terms of like storylines, because I always think of March Madness as there's always a good story to be told. What's been your favorite kind of story that you've seen across many years of doing this?
Sister
I
Jean.
knew that was going to be it. I could have guessed before you said that.
God rest her soul. So I met Sister Jean at the ripe young age of 97.
Her,
In
97,
my
not
old,
you.
correct.
Okay.
In my old job, we were on a panel together at a Jesuit spirituality conference. Now,
Oh, no.
one of these is, you know, Sesame Street, one of these does not belong. It wasn't her. She belonged. And we stayed in touch, and until last year, she's on the email list.
Is she really?
And she would respond.
Ooh.
Joe, I think you're underseeding the Ramblers. Joe, what do we have to do to get in? And one year I picked Illinois to beat them. In the second round, Illinois was a presumptive 1 seed with 2 7-footers. They know how to text, nuns do. Joe, you can't pick those heathen schools. I swear, I can show it to you. I can show it to you. And the last conversation, we talked in the spring. We talked in the spring. And our last conversation was, Sister Jean, your book sold more copies than mine, and your bobblehead, which was released the same month as mine, absolutely boat raced me. So I don't like you anymore. And am I going to hell or what? 106 and still questioning their seed. Honest to God. And you'll notice, since she's been gone, they've gone completely in the tank. 310th in the net. Should be impossible. They have 2 $800,000 players.
Do they really?
They really do.
God.
How do you think those donors feel?
Money not well spent.
Be true to your school.
My name is Rex Naylor. I'm from Mass, and my question is, with the current age in like media and all these hot takes and that kind of thing, people always trying to, I guess, take what you say or other people in sports media and try to kind of twist it. How do you react to that kind of thing, and how do you deal with it? Kind of similar to the Bruce Pearl thing. just people trying to get a rise out of you, maybe?
You know, it occurs to me that what I did this week with Bruce Pearl was a hot take. And this above maybe isn't the right. I like to think of myself as not a hot take person. Like, I try to be fact-based. Like, a lot of people are going to look at my projections whether I attach hot takes or not. So why? I would rather just let the track record do the talking and kind of be friendly about it. But, you know, if my job was actually to generate those eyeballs and generate those clicks because of what I'm saying as opposed to what I'm projecting, right? Like people aren't logging on. They're logging on for whatever's in my brain. Now, you can question whether that's worthy, okay? But, like, it's not, like, I'm not Stephen A. And I don't think people are expecting hot takes. You know, I live in a soundbite world, though, so sometimes you have to be concise with an opinion. You know, like, I'll be on tonight and somebody will say, all right, Joe, give us your Miami promo for Friday, but you have 20 seconds. So I can't really go off on Bruce Pearl in 20 seconds. Because after I said Bruce Pearl jackass, that only leaves 11 seconds. But, yeah, it's unfortunate, but thankfully it doesn't. I don't want to say I'm on a high road. I just try and take. What did Yogi say? When you come to the fork in the road, take it. I try and take the other fork. Is that a fair answer? Okay. It's a real question.
You got a mic?
Yeah.
All right, and then let's go around the corner to Benjamin back there.
All right. My name's Hayden Widman from Long Island. My dad grew up a St. John's fan. I am not a St. John's fan.
So how's that dinner time go?
Oh, I just chose whatever team is playing St. John's pretty much.
Well, that's irritating.
Because I chose the same sport I said for everything else. I want it to be different for one.
Okay.
But my question is, what in the conference tournament, what needs to happen for Miami, Ohio to lose in that large bid, in your opinion?
I think they're in the field, like already.
So even if they lose first round?
I mean, is there a material difference between 31-0 and 30-1? Like, is whatever committee member that might be voting against them that shallow that they think there's a meaningful difference? Like, look, they play a road game tomorrow night. Like, let's say they just get hammered. Let's say they lose by 20, and then they lose to the 8th seed by 20 next week. Oh, okay. I can see that being a conversation at least. But, like, if they lose to Akron in the final of their league, an Akron team that's 27-4 or 26-4, like, really? So, look, I'm not saying they should be a 1 seed. Now, we've had 6 undefeated regular season teams since seeding began in 1979. The other 6 were all 1 seeds. I don't know anybody who thinks Miami should be a 1 seed, but the distance between a 1 seed and the NIT is massive. That they wouldn't be somewhere in there is inconceivable to me. Inconceivable. I think they're going to run the table and be in an 8-9 game. If you asked me to bet a mortgage payment, that's what I would say.
All right, let's keep moving because I want to
Yeah.
make sure we get as many as we can in
Yeah.
before we send you off to some actual classes.
I'll give short answers from now on. Rapid fire.
Here we go.
Here we go.
My name is Benjamin Winnicki. I'm from Colchester, Connecticut, so obviously a UConn fan. My question is, you mentioned earlier that you were always a good writer, but developing your skill of talking was a newer thing. How did you develop that skill, and also how did you push the brand of bracketology past just the science, but also incorporating your persona, your personality of like Joey Brackets into bracketology?
In high school, I had 2 major activities. I kept stats for the football, basketball, and baseball coaches because I love being around the teams. I kept the book. I was essentially my high school's SID, going back, phoning in scores, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Never knew. And I was on the debate team. And I did that because it was an all-boys high school, and sometimes we would debate schools that had girls. So, like, I don't want to say it was to develop a skill, but the combination of stats, numbers, records, and then the ability to defend both sides of an issue in a formal way and be judged for it, who knew that 50 years later, essentially that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. The brand part, these guys get about 80% of the credit, I would say, because without their platform, I would just be one of those guys on the internet. But I do think that having an outgoing personality, being willing to engage with fans, do stuff like this, and look, if I could give one piece of advice, and I mean this, and in my real job, I used to say this to my staff, like, you can take your work seriously without taking yourself seriously. Like, I'm not a first responder. Like, nobody is living and dying if I get 67 teams instead of 68, okay? I might be cranky for a day or two, but, like, seriously? So I try to have that come across when I'm on the air or even giving an interview because, like, I really am just happy to be here. Like, I could have a real job. I am not breaking rocks and working in the quarry.
Let's go back around the corner.
Is that fair?
Oh, you got it first? Okay, and then we'll go back over here.
My name is Edison Tan. I'm from Hudson, New Hampshire. I had my dad go to Northeastern and my mom went to UMass Lowell, so big mid-major guy. I like America East. I like CAA, watching those teams.
Right.
I wanted to ask about how you felt about the Ken Palm rankings and if you use that at all in your brackets.
I think Ken Palm should be in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. I think he revolutionized the way we look at the game, and there isn't a day that I'm not on his site. And interestingly, in his real life, he's a meteorologist. So we're both ologists. The difference is, like, his is an actual science, and mine is made up.
We're going back over here. Chris?
I'm Chris Mundinger. I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm a St. John's fan. What has been your favorite final?
My favorite?
Final?
Favorite championship game?
Yeah, championship.
Oh, wow. Wow. Probably one that won me money. So, you know, that's actually not a short list. Money, I mean like winning a pool, not like there's no gambling at Bushwood.
No, there's no. We're going to talk about gambling before we let you leave, though.
Man, if Gordon Hayward's shot had gone in against Duke, it would have been the greatest ending in the history of any sport.
You know, Professor Mays went to Butler, right?
I just went last week for the first time to Hinkle. I had never been. The NCAA mock selections, and I looked, and I'm pleased to be home. The women were home, so I went to a women's game. And, like, I walked in, it was like that must have been what it was like for the Beatles. Like, people, like, there was 11 people there. And I talked to all of them.
Of course you did.
But yeah, so that, and, well, it wasn't a final, but I was center court for the Christian Laettner shot, which was, as live sporting events go, maybe the best I ever saw.
Sure. Trent?
Hi, I'm Trenton Hill. I'm from New Hampshire. I'd say Miami, but not Ohio. That's my favorite team. But
well, they're pretty good too.
Yeah.
Don't we need that? Isn't that a Sweet 16 game waiting to happen? Miami versus Miami?
Sure. Yeah, that's where.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that's where my dad's from, so I just kind of grew up liking them. But my question is, like, what's your favorite part about bracketology? Is it the filling out the bracket? Is it getting something right, or is it something else entirely different?
Used to be those things. And don't get me wrong, my ego is not like understated. I like being right. I just like being right. And who doesn't, right? Like, it's not like I'm the only, right? Now, most people don't get their score on SportsCenter an hour after, okay? And that's okay. I think the thing I like most about it now is being respected in my sport as you know, kind of a voice of reason, and one who's more concerned about like the greater health of all levels of the sport than whether my team or your team wins a game or gets in. Like, to be maybe thought of as being an insider as not. To me, that's kind of a payoff for working hard, and I don't take it for granted, because most of those people were players or coaches or former players or coaches.
Couple more. Spencer, back in the cheap seats.
Yeah, I'm Spencer. I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. So I'm a part of Nova Nation. Unfortunately, I know you're against them.
It's not a nation, by the way. It's
I know.
not even a whole county.
That's what they say.
It's Radnor Township.
I've been to the Finn, so I've been happy to
Okay.
do that. I was watching First Take today, and Jay Williams was talking about how after last year's tournament, he thinks the ideology of an upset shouldn't exist anymore, and that upsets are going away.
Oh, that we didn't have many.
Like last year, there weren't many, and
No,
so, like,
it was pretty chalky.
Yeah. So do you think that with the expansion of NIL and just how the college landscape is, that upsets actually could go away and not really exist anymore?
The honest answer is we don't know, right? Last year could have been the beginning of a trend, or it could be a one-off. Like, historically, we would say there's always upsets, right? But we really don't know. I would kind of flip the question on its head and say one of the reasons we had fewer Cinderellas is because they're letting fewer of them in, right? You can't dance with Cinderella if she's not invited to the ball. That's what I would say. But he's not wrong, and he's a thoughtful and smart guy. He managed to overcome going to Duke.
Couple in front of you right here, Tyler.
Hi, I'm Tyler Hudacek. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, so I'm a Maryland Terps fan.
Wait, a who fan?
Maryland.
Baylor.
No, Maryland.
Maryland.
Oh, Maryland.
We got a Terps fan in the
Oh,
building.
Yeah.
Terps. I
He's
thought
just
you
trying to
said
get a
Bears.
good. He's trying to get a good grade out of me.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, right.
So
They're
when
not
you-
going to make it.
No, they
Next
won't. Not their
question.
year.
I don't want to talk about it.
So when you started Bracketology, did you ever think it would get as big as it is now?
Wait.
Did you ever think bracketology would get as big as
No. No, like people come in, well, you know, what was your business plan? And I'm like, seriously? Like, number one, I'm not that smart.
Stop it. You are. But
Well, okay, I'm
stop
smart
it.
at this.
Okay.
I'm smart at this, but like my wife keeps the checking account. She's the banker. Thank God. And no, definitely not. Did I sit in the old bracket bunker during the Blue Ribbon Tournament Guide days? We published a postseason guide, and sit there and look at the guys on TV saying this team's in and this team's out, and going, yeah, they're not right. And someday I would love to sit there and be able to tell them how right I am. Never in a million years did I think that would happen, because I never played and I never coached. And that's where I give ESPN a crap ton of credit, because they recognized, even before I did, how valuable and here comes the word, the content was, okay, and how it could be utilized to enhance our coverage of the sport all season long. There was a year I missed 3 teams. It's happened 2 times in 30 years, 1 time in my ESPN time, and I was like shattered. Like, I thought, I'm getting fired. Like, this is like a death. And one of it was Jay Levy. He goes, do you think we're mad at you? I said, I'm mad at me.
Yeah.
He said, do you know how much great content you provide?
Yeah.
when we say you're coming up at halftime, it moves the needle. I said in my house, it moves people out of the living room. So yeah.
The numbers are enormous, and I'm going to talk about those before I let you leave. But one or two more. Anybody else back there? Oh, I'm going to go against Eli's going last. No, we're sending Eli. Go right in front of you.
I'm Jack Liggy, and I'm from Waltham, Massachusetts.
Didn't mean to bump you out of your bracket before.
No, it's all right. I'm a
It's
Kansas.
not too late, though.
I'm a Kansas Jayhawks fan. You talked about.
I don't know. Is the answer what's going on with Darren Peterson? I have no idea.
You talked about hearing out governors, coaches, even Sister Jean, because they couldn't talk to the selection committee. Are you in touch with the selection committee at all, or are you guys kind of no contact around this time?
Not now. Like it's done. I have never asked a question, sent a text, made a call, sent out a bat signal once March starts. Do I see committee members on the road during the year? Occasionally. This year I saw many of them because they held a mock selection exercise for the first time since before COVID. I had decided not to go because I don't know, like number one, I'm taking a seat from somebody who could learn something. And like, I do it every night. But then they asked me because they had a bunch of young bloggers and they wanted like an adult in the room, and since none were available, they called me. But yeah, ironically, more of them seek me out now than the other way around. And that's part of the being viewed, you know, as maybe a sensible voice of reason. And I take pride in that. They really do want to do a good job. Like nobody comes to work, none of us, none of you, says, you know, I want to be really bad at my job today, so some knucklehead like Lunardi will go on TV tonight and say I'm a moron. Like nobody thinks that way, right? It's like the nerd in the back of the class. Nobody likes that guy. Nobody likes that guy. That's why I don't like to go on Bracketology right after the bracket comes out, because either I'm going to gloat or be pissed. And nobody likes either of those things. I'm much better off going up to a desk in .com and writing something.
Sure. Yeah. So speaking of the guy nobody likes, Eli.
Yeah.
You want to close us out?
I'm Eli Ehlers. I'm from Northern Virginia, so I grew up watching some of the UVA games, but not a whole lot. What does the Monday after selection show look like for you?
Oh, my God.
Well, it's the last hard day. Okay. It's the last hard day. It doesn't end Sunday night. But now, and this has got to be like 7 or 8 years, maybe longer now, maybe 10. We've come up with this really cockamamie idea that I will do 68 one-minute videos.
It's more than 10 years.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was with,
and it runs.
It was with me at the beginning.
And like, people watch them all the way through in one sitting. These people need help. Okay? Because by then I haven't slept, I haven't had a green vegetable for weeks. Like I have just had it, right? And sometimes 60 seconds on Prairie View just isn't in my head. Okay, Duke, I can wing it, okay? And at that point, all I really want to do is get on a train and go home. I miss my house, I miss I miss my dog, I miss the weeds in the yard, I miss everything. But by Monday night, you know, I usually walk around the newsroom and say my goodbyes because I won't be back probably until February. Maybe occasionally some preseason stuff in November. The stuff I do for .com is all remote. Like, if there's a meeting I can talk myself into in the summer that maybe involves golf, I don't mind coming up because I'm not that far. But Monday's an exhale day. And just fighting, like I play a little game with myself to see how many of those videos I can do without retakes. And usually, you know, I can keep the retakes to like a dozen, or like most of them I can just do like 50, boom. And I like, it's a weird and completely nonsensical skill. It's just a game I play with myself.
So the gambling sites exist. Do we still have a Lunardi over/under that's available?
Oh,
Like
my God.
66.5, I believe, is usually the number.
It better not be on our site.
No, well, the ESPN bet doesn't exist anymore.
Well, whatever it is,
Right, but
better not be
there
setting
used
a
to
line
be
on
a way
me.
that you could
Well, and this
place
is a true
not
story.
that you should place a wager here.
This is equal to the governor story. Selection Sunday morning, the phone rings in the bunker. I've slept like 3 hours because somehow Copernicus or whoever invented the spinning of the earth decided that's the week we're going to set the clocks ahead, right? And I get, instead of 2 hours sleep, I get 1, right? This year it's this weekend. I don't know what happened. The apocalypse must be near. The phone rings. Joe, this is Brent Musburger. Does that mean anything to anybody? He's like a long-time NFL. And I thought I was being punked. And he goes, no, Joe, this is Brent Musburger. I'm like, okay, Brent. What can I do for you? He says, so how you feeling this year? And I said, I'm a little tired, but I'm good.
Oh, God, I know where this
No,
is
no,
headed.
like how you feeling about your picks? And I said, I'm pretty locked in. You know, I put the time in. Like, you know, it's really not up to me at this point. And I hate Selection Sunday, waiting around. I wish it was at noon. Because, like, you know, it's my final exam and it's on national television. And even for the other 199 bracketologists, none of them are getting graded quite on the same scale.
Yep.
Okay? And when they do, I'll take them more seriously. But he goes, no, he said, you know, there's an over and under on you, on like Bovada or something.
Yeah.
At first, he had to explain what that was.
Sure.
Okay? He said, yeah, plus or minus 1, or over under 1.5 teams that you'll miss. And I sat back, and I'm not. I said, so you're telling me it's better if I tank? And that, like, I could call on my friends and tell them that, you know, I'd come down with a little bit of integrity flu, right? And he said, yeah. I said, Brent, anybody who knows me knows I'm not wired that way. I said, I can't tell you that it'll pay off. I said, but I would never bet against me.
Yeah.
That was the last year I got 68.
So this guy is one of the best people that I've ever been around. He's phenomenally helpful. He's phenomenally accessible. He doesn't need to listen to anybody if he didn't want to, and yet, as much as he's talked about being right, and we should all want to like achieve that and to be good at it, is he could ignore all of us and do his own thing. He doesn't really need the rest of us to do what he does. But he is still so easy to be around and so easy. You want to ask him to do something on a Tuesday, he'll say sure. Or, hey, can you do this? Or can you write that? Or, hey, can you come into campus in March when it's all hell is breaking loose around you? And he does. He is not only great at what he does, he's one of my favorite human beings. And I can't thank you enough for coming in and being on the latest episode of What's Your Story? Joe Lunardi, the Bracketologist, everybody. You're the best.
Thank you. Can I have 90 more seconds?
Yeah, because then they got to go to class.
Communications. You're all in some form of communications. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not important and that people don't read or consume words anymore. They just do it differently. What was the first thing you did when you woke up this morning? And you read something. We read differently, and it's up to your generation to figure out how to do it better. So I have hope.
Excellent. Thanks. All
Because
right.
we're hopeless.
Yes.
Hopeless.
All right, get to class. Thanks, everybody.